Match number 24 on the day. Ryan Anderson, 2-0.
Match 24, this is better than NFL football. This is where Ryan Anderson is making his living today, from the top position.
Chop, that don't change, no matter what.
Goes across the body often to reach towards the triceps, almost like he's going to lift a step towards a Turk.
Seibert, the senior from Westerville, Ohio, already down 2-0.
Wait for me to bring you on, Green. Get set, Red. That way, yes. Set, Red.
Anderson, we talked about this throughout the week, a guy who is so heavily recruited, coming out of high school.
One red escape.
And first year in Division I, and this is a very big matchup for him throughout every match today. He's one of those guys that's had to wrestle 3 times. This is his third match so far. And he has just looked every bit of a guy who would have been recruited so highly back when he was in high school.
And Seibert got an escape. That's the first escape that Anderson has given up today.
Wow.
As back the first points he's given up today. This is third match, so not giving up points. I love that. He saw that Seibert was about to roll through. He let him roll, and once he had rolled through, then he attacked. He didn't get caught up chasing. That's what happens when guys start to roll and you chase. That's when you get in a bad position. He let him roll, and then once he finished the roll, he said, "Now I'm going to get back on you."
4-1, Ryan Anderson leading.
Hey, bump chop here, bump chop.
Set, Red. Green, cover legal.
Hey, get him flat, bump chop. Yep, head levers go.
Anderson,
nice.
a great win against Sam Hilligus. He had a tech fall earlier in the second match of the day against Caleb Ray of WVU.
Back up.
Bring that leg. Green, near side, knee slide.
Good.
Doing what he does well, and that's keeping pressure on his opponent's little head lever action. Head lever meaning putting the head right at the tricep. It's just very uncomfortable, but it opens up a lot of opportunities depending on what the bottom wrestler does.
Action, your action.
Good, yep, get him flat. Good job.
3-time national champion Spencer Lee oftentimes does a head lever, and then he goes to his tilt action.
Up. Set up, now up.
Anderson still holding on here. He's accumulated almost 2 minutes of riding time right now at minute 40. And back down to the mat for Seibert.
Again.
Good work again. Good work.
Relentless pressure.
That's been the common theme of the day for Ryan Anderson, that pressure. Anderson, another impressive first period. This last match against Hilligus won 4-0.
Off of go-bys. 2 takedowns. And the second, just 2 go-bys. And that was the difference because Ryan Anderson rode out Hilligus, and Hilligus rode out Anderson. That's the go-by.
Trying to be aggressive, Seibert and Anderson has just done a great job of throwing those away.
The little technique that he does, once someone takes a shot, he immediately goes under the armpit. And he goes under the armpit and starts to do the go-by. A lot of times people just try to follow, but he is securing that armpit and then is doing his go-by. Makes it very tough to defend if someone's under your armpit and they isolate the arm.
Push into him. Pressure. Seibert, pressure in.
For Seibert's the only wrestler to score today on Anderson with that escape in the first period.
2 green takedown.
2 more. Ryan Anderson.
I'm telling you, you have to be careful when you shoot on Ryan Anderson. And that, I don't know what other coaches are seeing, when you watch film on him. But one thing is for certain, you got to be careful that when you take a shot, it's got to be a committed shot.
Turning to the middle. Look at that riding time as well. Because you're not going to get that many chances because, at least today, Anderson's shown he can really ride it out.
And 141 is stacked from a national standpoint. It's top 4 guys at 141 when you consider the national champion Nick Lee, Jaden Ironman, Stevan Misick, Sebastian Rivera. That's just the top 4. And then there's other guys that are just tough that are All-Americans. In the ACC, you have Keyshawn Clark, 141, undefeated, top 10 wrestler. So Ryan Anderson is going to have his work cut out to be an All-American. But if he continues to ride and keep the pressure on like this, he can make a good run in the Nationals in Detroit.
Now, first year at Division I, transferred from Division III. He's working Seibert so far. There's that riding time, point secured.
And he goes back to his feet. And here's the takedown. He snapped ahead, and then went to the go behind.
Rip it. Yeah.
So we see that Anderson does, he steps hard with his right leg, but not to a point where he's trying to shoot. It's just to react. But the reaction isn't getting people to do a whole lot in terms of defending the shot. He just uses that to give people a return to react so he can go to his go-behind series. And this is the difference when you start to get to the D1 level. There gets to be more and more film. People are going to start watching this. They're going to look at this film that's going to be available online. They say, okay, this is what he does. We see 3 matches. We're going to see, 20 minutes of him wrestling. What does he do? Wrestle against guys that he's clearly better than, but then a guy like Killigas who is very tough. And then the more film gets out of you, you have to start to diversify your offense or just get really perfect at what you do well. And with a strong coaching staff that Binghamton has, they'll make adjustments.
Hey, don't let him off the hook here. Don't let him off the hook. Pull. Rotate left a little bit with the heavy.
I mean, with what you've seen out of Anderson today, those adjustments, trying to make those adjustments, is there anything additional moving through today? Because he's really had 3 strong matches so far. The rest of the season for Ryan Anderson, is there anything you see that he really needs to improve on?
It's hard to say until you start to wrestle those really high-level 141-pounders. And that's not an indictment to the guys he's wrestled before, but none of these guys are All-Americans. None of these guys are national champions. So he'll be challenged. But right now he's doing all the right things.
Down to 5 seconds. Almost had some back points coming there. But instead, another dominating win by Ryan Anderson.
Really?
That one by major decision. Brings us to another break. Anderson wins against Seibert. 1 for more wrestling.